we are at the entrance to the tombs we will be visiting shortly. These extraordinary and somewhat eerie settings have reached us still intact after more than 2 millenniums. The bodies of the deceased were brought here for their journey to the afterlife. Like the ancient Egyptians, the Etruscans also excavated large underground areas and then filled them with precious objects. Many thousands of years ago, this whole area was bubbling with volcanic activity. Over and over again, the eruptions covered the area where Cerveteri stands today with tuff. In some places, the layer of tuff reached a thickness of 30 meters. Today, the rock is extracted using special machinery, but the Etruscans cut it by hand, using only pickaxes and wooden wedges. This is how it was done. They would cut out a long trench-like passage and begin to carve out circular structures on both sides for the burials. This means that everything we see here was not constructed, but carved into the tough rock, in the same way a bas-relief is sculpted. So, a small sculpted city of sorts came into being, the City of the Dead, a short distance away from the City of the Living. These circular structures were the tumuli. They consisted of a drum at the base, crowned by a cornice, and covered with a mound of grassy earth. The grooved band you see was the original level of the tough rock. Then, with one blow of the pickaxe after another, it was shaped, descending deeper and creating this extraordinary web of roads and lanes. In certain tumuli, you can still see the small steps that led to a space where the rites and sacrifices were probably performed. At a certain point in time, simpler tombs were also built. These were the so-called cube tombs, which were somewhat like semi-detached condominiums. They may in fact be a sign of more widespread wealth and the rise of new social classes who could afford to build family tombs here. With space lacking, over time, they began to carve out tombs at lower depths, below street level. These are the so-called Hypogaea. The area is clearly visible from above. It is quite large, extending over many hectares. It is estimated that there are tens of thousands of tombs, both large and small, in and around Cerveteri. Of course, many have yet to be discovered. These tombs were built between the 9th century before Christ and the Roman period. But where did the Etruscans come from? For a long time, it was commonly thought that they came from the eastern Mediterranean and that they spoke an unknown language. Today, it is held that they were an original population of Italy, with close ties to the Greek world. In fact, the Etruscans were great navigators. From the Greeks, they imported goods and wares, but also knowledge, techniques, ways and customs, deities, and even the alphabet. We have much evidence of the magnificence of Etruscan art. You need only go, for example, to the Museum of Cerveteri or the Museum of Villa Giulia in Rome to admire the enormous wealth of all that has been found. And to think that all these wonders had remained buried for centuries. and for centuries the sun was to rise and set over this forgotten, invisible city, until archaeologists uncovered the hidden world of the Etruscans.